From the W. Page Pitt School of Journalism and Mass Communications, your home for complete Marshall University news. You're watching MU Report.
Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for this midwinter edition of MU Report 2019. I'm Madison Davis.
And I'm Derek Gilbert. We are a student-produced newscast of the W. Page Pitt School of Journalism and Mass Communications at Marshall University. We air this broadcast not only on West Virginia Public Broadcasting, but also on YouTube. Now on to our top story.
A bill that would have allowed weapons onto Marshall and other campuses appears dead. A legislative committee voted to move the controversial bill off the active calendar, which puts its fate in question. Protests and walkouts started statewide as the so-called concealed carry bill gained traction. Nearly every administrator, police agency, student, and faculty member begged lawmakers to kill the bill.
It's much more effective. It's as effective of a deterrent against gun violence to yell for help in the situation of gun violence. We got plenty of people to yell here.
You have to take everything out of your pockets. You may be subject to a pat down. And this is to ensure the safety of the legislators, the very same legislators who ironically and hypocritically are saying, we don't need those safeguards for our college-age students.
Supporters argued it was a constitutional right.
I'm Derek Gilbert. Marshall University begins its spring semester a gun-free zone, but with campus carry bills working their way through West Virginia State Legislature, it may not remain that way for long.
Concealed carry on this campus, I think in the right hands, it would be definitely beneficial because we live on a campus and it's pretty secure, but you know, this campus isn't necessarily in the safest city. So with the necessary training and, you know, you'd have to pass a lot of things to be able to do it, but I definitely think that it could be beneficial on the campus.
It wouldn't make me feel safe on campus. It would make me feel more on edge.
While some students are fearful of the idea of college kids having guns on campus, some see it as a potential lifesaver in threatening situations.
Personally, I would love to be able to carry on campus because in the event that some psycho or anything would happen on campus, I would be comfortable with personally me having a gun. But there's so many factors in letting just anyone being able to carry legally on campus, especially concealed.
Among some provisions being discussed is the idea of professors having guns in classrooms to protect themselves or their students from potential danger.
Same idea, you know, if they're tested extensively, if they meet the qualifications, if they can reliably use it to protect the citizens of this campus, I think it should most definitely be allowed.
Personally, I would want to know the teacher. I would want to know who or how many hours they spent at the range. I would, because if you're going to carry a gun, I would say go to the range a lot, know your gun, keep it clean, know how to use it, because when it comes down to it, when you need to pull that gun, it's a lot of instinct, and you need to be prepared and ready to protect anyone and live with the consequences of pulling the trigger.
Both Marshall University and MUPD Chief of Police James Terry have long opposed concealed carry by students on college campuses, with Chief Terry once saying that he didn't want students on campus to have guns in peaceful nor volatile situations. With these laws once again making their way through West Virginia State Legislature, Marshall will be anxiously waiting to see if it remains a gun-free zone for much longer.
Controversial issue lawmakers are considering raising the legal age for buying tobacco products to 21 from 18. The American Lung Association says West Virginia has more smokers than any other state. Many students use nicotine on Marshall's campus, and many of those students are under the age of 21.
A West Virginia legislative bill passed the Health Committee and heads to the Judiciary Committee next. If approved, the bill will not allow anyone under the age of 21 to purchase tobacco, including vapor products.
You can obviously vote, and you're considered illegal, or you're considered legal, and you could actually go serve in the military at 18 years old and put your life on the line. I think you should be able to smoke a cigarette.
The legislation would impose a misdemeanor and fines of $300 for the first offense, at least $600 for the second offense, and at least $1,000 for the third offense of selling or providing tobacco products to people under the age of 21.
It's a hefty fine, but if it keeps our smoking and vaping epidemic down, I feel like it would be worth it.
One of the most popular tobacco products with people under the age of 21 is the Juul. The company's manufacturer recently released a statement saying they do support laws that require tobacco purchases to be 21 and over. Their website also requires purchasers to be 21 and over.
It's coming from the company itself that they don't want people under 21 to be using their Juul products. That is, you should probably listen to them.
For manufacturers to say it, obviously at the end of the day, they can say what they want, but they're the ones that are selling the product.
Along with many members of the state government, the American Lung Association is urging the West Virginia legislature to pass the bill in order to increase the smoking age to 21.
You choose to smoke. If you want to stop smoking, there's no doubt it's a struggle, but you can.
Now, while this bill will not affect all students on campus, the ones who it will affect are pretty upset that soon this could be gone.
I feel like we should care because it is our generation and our age is about to kind of go into the future or like into the workforce, and we need to be healthier and make better decisions.
The bill, if passed, will come into effect 90 days after it is approved.
An essential part of everyone's life is taking the time to eat just to accomplish the rest of the day's tasks. But not everyone has the luxury of eating whenever they're hungry. That's why Olivia Zarilla has the story on the Marshall program that's providing access to the one thing that should never be considered a luxury.
The pop of a soda can or the rustling of an open bag of chips are sounds familiar to most of us, although we don't often give much thought to things that are common in our lives, like the sound of food. But what if you had to think about food all the time, and more specifically, how you were going to get it?
A lot of events have free food, which is what we all go for. If you have free food, everyone's going to show up because most of us can't afford to eat sometimes other ways.
1 in 7 West Virginians struggles with hunger, which is why the Marshall University Food Pantry has been in operation for several years, allowing both Marshall students and the Huntington community to worry about school, work, or their families, rather than worrying about where they'll find the food to fuel those tasks.
They're full-time students that are working full-time jobs, and they still can't afford for food. And we think that ramen or takeaway food that's like super cheap, that's kind of a social norm for kids to eat. But then, yes, they're lacking in nutrition and they're more tired, and you can even tell on their faces, and it's a real concern.
The food pantry sees about 10 people every time they're open, and while that may not seem like many, it's a high number when even one of the people you're talking about has to question where they'll find their next meal.
I'll make a broke college student joke and then go back to my place and then look at all of the food I don't have, essentially, and be like, oh yeah, no, I am a broke college student. This isn't really as funny as, it is with your friends. It's very sad.
And, though the food pantry is located on campus, Mangialetti says students are not the majority of the people who use it, likely because of the assumption that this shouldn't be a sound common to people while they're paying for college.
I think the biggest barrier for us to get to the college students is that they don't think they actually need it, because they still do make money and they have money for ramen, that kind of stuff. They don't actually think that they need it, or it is a little bit of embarrassment, especially that we have Marshall students working here. And we just want to make sure that they know that, we understand, and we want to make sure they have proper nutrition.
For those who are struggling with food insecurity, the pantry does not require any formal documentation or identification. And, unlike some pantries where guests are given a box of supplies to take home, the Marshall Pantry allows those in need to shop for what they want based off the number of people in their household, just like they would in a grocery store. Olivia Zarilla, MU Report.
Going to college may be the first time any student has a chance to have real interactions with people from diverse groups. And Marshall's campus is like opening a door to an entirely different world. As Ondo reports, that diversity has brought students from a variety of groups closer.
Consider how boring your conversation would be if you only have friends who share everything in common with you. Into Marshall provides a special program called Conversation Partners that pair international and domestic participants to polish their English and build cross-cultural relationships. It is built on a foundation of talking, exchanging culture, and friendship.
We prefer to talk about the different culture from different countries and some holidays or some experience.
She is my first American friend, and when I meet her and chat a few times. I feel I embody the pace of my American student life. And she is a member of the bank, and we can meet on football games.
I can improve my English, and I want to learn more about American friends' life.
But international students aren't the only ones who benefit from the conversations. Students from down the street make new friends with people across the globe, and they start to appreciate different backgrounds and learn about cultures vastly different from their own. Organizer says interactions with people different from ourselves increase our knowledge and our tolerance, and it doesn't cost anything to travel there to learn it.
I can learn some different culture and some different perspectives because she's from a different country. So I can see her point of view. And then also if I ever travel the world, I can feel comfortable because I have a friend too in another place.
Conversation partners at Into Marshall get together and can really do whatever they want to do to hang out. So you can text message each other, you can FaceTime, you can, tweet. If people have traveled to Niagara Falls or the beach together, they go shopping at Jungle Gyms in Cincinnati, Ohio. It's really whatever they want to do and what interests them.
Conversation Partners is a voluntary commitment. It is so popular that there's a waiting list of international students looking for partners. Into Marshall says it always welcomes domestic students to sign up and come hang out. Because after all, it is only a conversation when you have someone else to talk to. Ando, MU Report.
In the months going from winter to spring, the weather can change dramatically from one day to the next. And for anybody who is connected to Marshall at all, students, faculty, staff, and visitors, it can cause serious problems. As Larry Lonstein Jr. reports, these problems can be quite serious.
The recent changes in the weather have been blowing very cold to very warm in the months going from winter to spring at Marshall University. And it has not gone unnoticed by all who have anything to do with the university.
Well, I think that the cold weather has been affecting the campus a lot because, we have to walk to classes and everything, and especially when it got in the negatives almost, we had to close campus.
Even visitors to the university have noticed the changes and the problems it can cause not only at Marshall but in their everyday lives.
I've actually kind of enjoyed the mild winter. I do have a farm, so it has been tough to try to feed the cows in the mud, but I have enjoyed the mild winter.
It's definitely a little bit weird. It's hard to get used to because one day you'll be wearing a hoodie and then the next day you'll be wearing shorts, but I like it.
Actually, I don't have a problem with it. I'd rather have some nice days like this, so I'm actually enjoying it.
Well, it did make getting to class a little bit of a challenge because you have to bundle up so much, and especially with the wind. The wind is killer. It can make any temperature feel a lot colder than it actually is.
The current fluctuating weather means only one thing. It will be breaking before too long, and things are going to start getting really nice here at Marshall University. Larry Lonstein Jr., MU Report.
In a late development as MU Report goes to record, Marshall's Board of Governors has voted to keep the campus education building named Jenkins Hall unchanged. A committee considered renaming the building because it was named after a Confederate officer who attended the school. Instead, Marshall will display a plaque inside denouncing bigotry and racism.
That's all the time we have for the second edition of MU Report 2019. Our newscast is generated by the students in the W. Page Pitt School of Journalism and Mass Communications. You can always catch this newscast on YouTube, and be sure to follow our reporters on Twitter and MU Report on Facebook. I'm Madison Davis.
And I'm Derek Gilbert. Have a great day.